Um, okay, we're recording, so be careful of what you say. I'm kidding. She couldn't be here for an emergency, but the only people who will have access to this faculty section are the four of us. So at any time, just make sure you're looking here to make sure you know whether you're in your student section or your faculty section. If you ever want to ask a question, you can post your comments here and you'll get notified. You can also just email if you'd rather, but if you have like a helpful exercise that you did or a helpful thing that you did or have a question about how to facilitate something, you can post it here and other faculty can respond. I'm going to walk you through first kind of like the layout of this. When you go into your class and you click on coursework, you're going to see the syllabus in this toolbox over here. And again, you should get access to it tomorrow. If you do not get access for it tomorrow, let me know, and I'll at least email you all these documents. So the syllabus, I'm going to give you a disclaimer first, because I just got this course. I did not create this course. I just got access to it like a week before I left for vacation, so I barely looked at it. I don't love this course, and I'm going to be doing a lot of tweaking in the course, and I welcome all of your feedback on it. So anything that you're like, this assignment was awful, I don't want to do it, or I want to change it this way, just let me know and we'll change it. Similarly with class content, I can easily change it for the next iteration. I just can't change it during the course of the semester or during the course of the quarter. So if you go here, it's just contents, and it talks to you. I'm not going to go through everything, but it talks to students about how the course is structured, the fact that we do have class only every other week. So it's weeks 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. And that's only the online material. And the live, when you do Zoom, is only on week 1, 5, and 9. So they will be working on asynchronous material during these weeks, and they should have all of it done before your live session. So week 1 should be done before live session 1, etc. I will tell you that a lot of the students work ahead. So you'll see students just kind of like whip through the course in like 5 days. And it's different than Metro's discussion because it's not really a discussion format for most of the posting. It's more like, here's a prompt, you respond to it. And you can respond to other students who have responded, but most students aren't going to go in and go back and forth. It's kind of like a one-time thing that most of them do. And then you can respond to, I always say you don't need to respond to everyone. One of the things that I did when I taught, not this class, but a different class last quarter, is I did this for both grading and for some of the longer things, is I didn't respond individually, but I just kept notes of themes. And then I posted on the discussion wall like, hey, everyone, great job on, responding to this. Here are the common themes that I noticed, because it can get pretty labor intensive. None of you will have more than 15 students in your class, though. Okay, so like I said, that course overview gives an overview of everything. The biography here is for Cindy Sorensen. She was an adjunct faculty who created this class before the program started. And, I talked to her briefly, and she said that her purpose on this was to really help students develop skills, like kind of the soft skills that they'll need in their internships, which part of it I like I'm a big believer in emotional intelligence. I will say some of the things I think are a little too basic for concentration year students. So again, please give me your feedback as we go through this course. Here are the assignments. I am going to email you later a document that I'm going to pull up right now. Because I think that the syllabus is a little bit confusing, and so what I'm going to do is share this with you, and you can modify this for your own each class. So most of the assignments are due 24 hours after the scheduled live session. So if your session was on Wednesday, like the 23rd, then your assignment would be due Thursday the 24th at 5:30. One thing to note is you're going to have students all across the country, so whenever you talk times, make sure you put Mountain Standard Time so they know which zone you're talking about. So these are the assignments that they'll have. They'll have a learning journal, which again, I don't love the learning journal. It's what they used in the foundation years, so Cindy decided to carry it over, which I can see the logic in that. It's not my favorite thing, so if you have ideas for improving it or just saying, no, I want to completely do away with it, I'm totally fine. I'll talk to you about what that looks like in a second. They submit their individualized field education plan, which is basically DU's version of the learning contract. It's not graded. They submit an agency paper. It's really, really short. Ask very basic questions about the agency. They submit a supervision agenda. It's not graded. It's just part of participation. They submit the second part of their learning journal, a listen fully debrief, and then kind of what they've learned. So there's not very many assignments. They're very short, like nothing's over 1,000 words. So students have to be pretty succinct. Let me get back in the class. So you'll notice that, let me go over the learning journal first. There's only one learning journal that they do per quarter, and it's done in 2 parts. Can you see it up here? So part 1 is due at the end of the week 3. They're basically going to pick any experience and reflect on it. So in part 1, they describe the experience that they plan on reflecting on and their thoughts and feelings about the experience. And then this should say part 2, and it doesn't, so we'll have to change that. But part 2 is what did they do about that situation? So it's not my favorite learning journal. I'm not sure that, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on how students feel about this. But does this make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. The other assignments, I'm not going to go through them in detail because they're pretty self-explanatory. When you get into the class, you can read about them. They're all listed in the assignments here. The supervision and the agenda and the IFEP are the only 2 that aren't graded. They're just for you to look over. So talking about week 1, they'll have different modules that they'll go through every week. So they'll have videos that Cindy has created where she'll have like a 2-minute or 5-minute video where she talks about something. So like, for example, the ropes for everyone, she does a video about explaining what that is. And ropes basically means it's like group norms for the class. So she'll do a video. There's always a PowerPoint that you can download. I suggest when you watch it to watch it on 2 times speed. That's what I did for all of them because it goes at normal pace and sometimes you just want to get through what are they actually saying. And then they reflect on it. So here they watch a video about the norms and then they talk about, what other norms would you like to put forth? Are there any group norms that you would like to see modified? Which of the group norms do you find to be especially valuable? So that's just an example of some of the content of the class. I'm not going to go over everything because, again, you can look through it in your class as you go through. Go ahead.
Let me ask, so for that particular little spot, so we would view the video and then they would start writing their responses during the live session?
No, this is all stuff that they do before the live session.
Okay.
And so then when you get to this page, you'll start seeing just like a series of their posts scrolling down the screen. And then you can respond to ones if you want, or you can just respond as a discussion thread, or sorry, an announcement on the wall. So the way you do announcements on the wall is you just go to wall, and then you can type anything that you wanna do, and then you just share it. So
our comments don't have to be within that thread where that class was. It could just be on the wall.
It's up to you. So some weeks you might want to respond to students individually on the thread, and some weeks you might say, you know, it's not really necessary to respond individually, and you can just say on the wall, like, great job, here are the themes that I noticed from 1.5. You know, your postings in 1.5. One thing that you will see on the faculty section is a section called files. The student section has a section for files, but none of these files will be in there. So the grade, the assignment due dates sheet that I sent you, or that I just showed you, that's going to be in here. So you can always go to the files section, click on it, modify it for your class, and then you can put it in your own class section of the files. And then you can post on the wall that says, if you look in the file section, you'll see a document called this. This will tell you when the assignment due dates are. Does that make sense?
Yes. And is there like a student view so I know?
So the students will see exactly what you see. This is just the faculty section. So when you go into the student section, like your actual class section, I mean, it'll just be exactly this, but your students have access to this course. So let me show you what I mean.
So how are you bouncing back between faculty and student view?
I'm not. Like, I will never be in the faculty. Like, when I teach a class, I never go to the faculty section unless I need like a file that the students don't have access to, or if I want to ask a question to other faculty. What you'll see is you'll see this, you know, your faculty section, and then you'll see this, your section. I have access to everyone's section, so you'll have like one of these plus the faculty section. You'll never go in the faculty section unless you want to pretty much use the files, or unless you want to
not with me
out.
I see.
So, like I said, in the student section, there will be a thing called files. I shouldn't call it the student section. In your class section, there will be a thing called files, but you get to choose which files you upload. So you're not going to want your students to see all of this, because some of this is just useful for teaching only. Like, for example, in the faculty section, when you get access to it tomorrow, I encourage you to look at this, because this is a general section instructor checklist prior to week 1. So before your first day of class, you're going to want to post a welcome message. You usually want to do it 1 week. Students will actually get access to the course tomorrow as well. So, you know, in early January, you can do all these. They say post the due dates of the course assignments. So you can, instead of posting them, you can either post them if you want to, or you can say, you can upload that document into the files section of your class section and just say, hey, look at this document. And then remind them.
So are they going to see, do we have to actually go in and remove these documents?
None of these are in your class section.
Okay, all right, got it.
Yeah, these are just for your stuff. No, there's actually no documents in your class section. You have to go and upload. So whatever you want to upload to there, you can upload.
Got it.
And the only one I really think you're going to need to upload is that due date one.
How do the weeks run? Sunday to Saturday, or?
It's Wednesday to Wednesday.
Wednesday to Wednesday, okay.
Well, for you, it would be Saturday to Saturday.
Oh, so it depends on when you actually meet. All weeks are different then. Okay.
Wednesday to Wednesday.
Well, actually, hold on. Let me think about that. Give me a second here. Actually, no. It's Sunday. It's Sunday through Saturday. That is week 1. Sunday through Saturday. It doesn't. It's not as important in this class because you only have 3 live sessions. So basically, your first live session, they should have done all asynchronous material before. So for Andy, they should have done it before the 12th. For Lee, they should have done it before the 9th. And then for week 3, they should be doing it within week 3, but it doesn't really matter. You know, like as long as they do it before your next live session.
So this isn't like Blackboard where they're all hidden until that week and it goes live.
No. Everything's live right now, and you have students that work ahead. So you'll have students completing week 7 before you even get done with week 3.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
So you'll want to download this from the faculty section, this section instructor checklist. The one thing that I do recommend you do is this. So on the wall, I always post, you know, our live sessions this week are these 3 dates and these 3 times, just to be sure they know what it is. So I'm gonna share one more thing for you. So we have a participation rubric that you will see in the syllabus, and it's worth 35% of a student's grade. And it's a combination of different areas. Like I'll have to go back to the grade book, but there's 4 different areas that you're basically grading a student on, but you're not grading. It's set up really kind of awkwardly for us because most classes have live sessions and asynchronous sessions every week. So most classes, there's async work, and then every single week there's an hour of live work. With us, it's a little different. So the point values are kind of weighted funny, you know? So like you might have 10 points for like the participation area, and you have to just make it a combination of it. So what I recommend you doing is keeping your own notes about how a student participates each week. You won't have anything for week 2 because we don't have a week 2, so you'll only have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So again, students won't have access to this. This is just a file that we created to help faculty kind of track what are some things we notice about their participation, both in the async and then in the live session. It's going to be important for you to take attendance in the live session because it's not done automatically for you. Then let me pull up one other document. This document looks pretty the same, but it's a little bit different. This is what we call an iteration tracker. So this is for you. You don't have to use this if you don't want to, but this just is an easy way for you to take notes. So the next time we check in, you can say like, okay, in week 1, in the async content, here's what I did like or don't like, and here's what worked well or didn't work well in the live session, and any other notes. So you, again, don't have to use this. You can just have informal conversations about it, but if you want a way to organize your thoughts, it's there. And then the last document that you're going to see in the file section is the placement process. And I don't know if we went over this with you in the liaison orientation, but this is basically—
That was a little bit of an overwhelming.
Was it?
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in that meeting.
Sorry. If you ever have any questions, the good news is I'm both of your liaison supervisors, so you can just text me, call me, email me. I probably won't answer, but you know, you can get in touch with me.
And truly, that's what I thought. I finally just kind of checked out and thought, when the time comes, I'll just reach out to Anisha,
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that. And I'll send reminders, you know, for the first quarter, like, hey, okay, don't forget to be doing your site visits, all of that. So this is just like a, oh, go ahead, Lee.
Is your cell phone still the same?
What'd you say?
Is your cell phone still the same?
Yeah, it's 720-339-9619. I can put it in the chat.
Okay.
So this document, again, you don't need to share it with anyone. It's just for your own knowledge. This just talks about how students are placed in field. Because in an online program, the field office at the School of Social Work does not place students. It's the placement team. We never use the words "to you" to our students because we want them to see us as all one united front of University of Denver. But we partner in the online program with a for-profit technology company called 2U. So they are the ones that place all of our students. We approve all of the placements, so they locate the agency. Once they locate and screen the agency, they give it to us and say, here's all the information, you approve it or not, and we'll either say yes or we'll say no, or we'll say, well, we have a few more questions about this before we'll approve it. So this just talks about the placement process, that basically their placement team will call students 120 days prior to the placement. They'll do a search, they'll get all the paperwork for the placement, then we approve it. Then they send a student out on the interview. Once the agency says, yes, we'll take the student, the placement is confirmed. So students don't get to go to the interview and be like, yeah, no, that wasn't for me. It's a matching process. If a student wants something really specific, then they don't have to go through the placement process. They can submit a referral. Again, helpful information for you to know, not part of the class, but just in your role if a student starts complaining about their placements. Unfortunately, unless it's the problem with like them not having a good experience there or the supervisor not being good, that's the placement that they have. The only way for them to get a placement that they actually want based on population or schedule is for them to have had submitted a referral prior to the placement process.
What word did you say you don't ever use with the students?
Say that one more time.
What word do you say you never use?
2U.
To you.
No, 2U. So 2U. Yeah. So 2U is the company name, and I'll give you a little bit background about this. So 2U runs online programs for like hundreds of programs across the country. Like they partner with USC, with Fordham, with Simmons, with Case Western, with tons of universities, with Harvard, with tons of universities. When we first started partnering with 2U to run the MSW at Denver program, it was pretty contentious within the school. A lot of the faculty were like, we don't like this, and they didn't want to have anything to do with the MSW at Denver program, and they kind of viewed it as 2U's program, which is not true. Like, we still run the curriculum, we still, you know, run everything. They're just our partners, and they take over screening admissions applications, doing the placements, you know, just different administrative pieces. And so in the very beginning of the program, there was this problem with our faculty going out in the community and saying, well, 2U runs MSW at Denver, which isn't true. It's still a DU, Graduate School of Social Work program. We just happen to partner with 2U's, but we never use their name because students don't need to know the difference that, oh, these people are paid by 2U, these people are paid by DU, because it's one DU, it's one GSSW. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So those are just the documents that you're going to find in the files section of the faculty course. And again, they're just helpful. The only one you'll put in the student files section is the grades and do you want me to go over each of the section weeks and kind of like the content that's being covered, or do you want to have a chance in the next 3 weeks to just go over it on your own?
I can take a look at it. I don't know what you prefer.
I'm a little bit overwhelmed with all the technology stuff and the training I have to get done. I feel like I'm behind already.
Oh, you're
I
actually,
do too. Yeah. I haven't done any of it yet.
you're actually fine. Here's what I would say. So you have how many weeks? You've got you should get access to the course tomorrow. So you'll have 2.5 weeks before the course starts. The good news is you don't really have to work ahead. So if you just review week 1 prior to your live session, you're totally fine.
Now, like the ones where we have to be live or whatever, you had talked about like there is like a format almost of a script that you want us to follow. Is that in?
Yeah. So that will be in the live session. So if you click on live session plan, you'll see it. So I just clicked on it. Can you see it coming up?
I think you have to share your screen again.
Oh. So there'll be a button called live session plans. And okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
So I have to do some fixing on this because I actually don't have access to fix the live session plan, and this was based on the last time this course ran. But basically, you can get rid of. You don't have to look at the preparation one. You want to look at the lesson plan one, and it kind of walks you through. So, for example, for this class, it says poll question about the week. So as students start coming in, once they're all in, you'll post your poll within Zoom, and the technology teaching will teach you how to do a poll. It's really, really pretty simple. If you get to it and you're like, I just do not have time to do this training, we can set up literally a 15-minute crash course, and I'll just show you how to do it. So if it comes,
get all trained.
What'd you say?
My plan is to get trained these next 2 weeks, to devote it to all that training. So.
Okay, but if worst case scenario, it comes down and it's like the day before your class and you're like, I haven't gotten time to do it, just call me and we'll set up like 15 minutes and you can practice setting up I'll demonstrate it and then you can practice doing it and we'll figure it out.
Thank you.
So, like these are
you guys open next week?
No. But I'm not
going to fill out the I-9 stuff. I didn't realize that I go actually on campus and bring my driver's license. I haven't done that yet.
You don't have to worry about it. You can do it when we get back.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. The campus opens back up on January 2nd. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
So like it'll tell you in the session plan, here are your poll questions. I'm probably going to change these because I don't necessarily love them. So by the time you see it, this will all be changed. But you don't have to follow it. If you look at these poll questions and you're like, these are awful, I hate what Anisha came up with, do your own poll questions. The reason we do poll questions, though, is they really want you to try to be as interactive with the students as possible. So it's a fun way to just kind of interact with them. Then, she has that to do 12 minutes on discussion of year 1. So introduce yourself, discuss your adjectives, describe your 3 adjectives, and it has reminders that you'll use these adjectives again in an assignment in week 5. I would do this in small groups if you want. I'm actually going to change this lesson plan around. This is actually the first time I'm looking at it. I think small groups work a lot better when doing these type of discussions because you're probably going to get just a lot of silences. So I'll put like an icebreaker question in, and then you can break the Zoom room up into small groups. It's really easy to do. You just basically hit do small groups and you pick the number of groups. They say best practices don't have more than 3 people in a small group. But again, that's up to you. Then there's the ropes discussion. So basically what you would want to do in this section is you'll have seen their responses to the ropes questions. So they will watch the ropes video and then they will have written what things that they want to add or change. What I would do in preparation for this live session is compile just like a document that has the list of all the ropes group norms and anything else that someone in the class added, compile it all into one document, and you can share it in the chat feature of Zoom so everyone can have access to it, and then just have a discussion if everyone agrees with these group norms or not. I would then do a small breakout group about the supervision discussion. So in week 1 asynchronous, before they come to class, they will have already talked about supervision, things that worked the last time they were in an internship and things that didn't. You can break them into pairs, have them do that, and then bring them back to the whole group to discuss again. So then this is the report out, the whole group discussion. Then you can talk about the individualized field education plans. So get them a chance to ask any questions they have about the individualized field education plan. Again, this is the learning contract. What are their concerns and challenges? You can talk about, they would have done some stuff in the async about the individualized field education plan, so you can talk about their responses from that. You can go over the learning journal and explain that and how that works, and then you're done. It's only an hour, it's gonna fly by. Especially when you give them like 5 minutes to do group or paired discussions, and you're welcome to change this at any time. They don't see the lesson plan, so if you start preparing for the week and you're like, you know what, I don't really want to talk that much about making the most of supervision, I'd rather talk about a different topic, feel free to. You can just break them up into small groups and say, here's your discussion prompt, and this is what I want you to discuss for the week. One thing I would suggest is, I mean, this is their first week, so they won't be in their internships, but in week 5 and week 7, I would suggest giving them some time in like breakout groups to talk about a prompt about like how the internship is going, if you think they respond well to that, or do it as a group, whatever you want.
I have to go get my car, so I'm going to switch over to mobile, or we still have a lot to do?
No. The only things that I would do is I'm going to send you an email with reminders that you should send. I'll do it later. I'm not going to overwhelm you now. But like in January 2nd, like a week before class, I'll send you a reminder and like a sample introduction, things that you might want to remember to post on your wall. So really don't even worry about it. Just get through the training and focus on that. And I'll kind of like walk you through weeks 1 and 3 with reminders you want to put, everything. And if you want, we can also schedule another meeting to touch base just about the live session, like the day before your class.
Cool. And I'm 8:30 on Saturday mornings. Is that right? 8:30?
Yeah. Thanks, Sandy.
My wife was psyched to hear about that.
Tell her I will take her out for wine. I think he's frozen.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
But seriously, if you start going through stuff, just drop me an email and say, hey, Nisha, let's touch base the week before or the day before class to go over the live session, and I'm happy to do that.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me better, by the way?
What'd you say?
Can you hear me better? Still no? No?
It's kind of like you're underwater.
Okay, I'm not going to use this laptop, but wow.
Yeah. I don't know if this was helpful or not.
Oh, definitely is.
Okay. I'll email you a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to overwhelm it. I'll make it clear in the subject line what it is so you know kind of what it pertains to.
Cool.
Okay. One last question in regards to the 2DU training. So I started the module. So I saw that there's a requirement we have to get through modules 3 or 4 before we start. Is that right?
No, I mean,
how much of a stickler are they to like training completion?
No one's going to be checking up on you. Actually, I shouldn't say that. They may reach out individually to you and say, have you done your modules? But I didn't get through all my modules. Like I taught a full class already, and I have not done the gradebook module. Or actually, I think I did the gradebook module like in week 7, which is not a good thing to do. But you can just, yeah, do it as you can. I think get the ones that you're like, I don't need to know this right now, and come back to them. It's really fluid on how you do it.
I have to pop off. I got to go grab my kids from
Okay.
the program.
Bye, Andy.
Happy holidays.
Call me if you need anything, or email me, either one.
Sure.
Okay. Have a great winter break.
Thanks, Anisha. This was great.
Elise, so what I would suggest is go through let me look at the modules real quick, and I'll tell you the ones that I think are going to be the most helpful for you. Give me a second to get to the teaching modules. So which ones have you already done?
So I just started on the first one. So I'm like halfway through the first one.
Okay.
There were these other Canvas trainings with all the Canvas orientation, which is the new higher orientation.
Wait, say that again?
I did the Canvas training.
Oh.
I did that last night.
And you're not even going to be using Canvas.
Oh, really? Well, it had 2D things in there too, so it kept asking me like to prep what you're teaching, and it went over different things.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't think you really would have needed that. The one that I think you need the most is definitely Module 1. Can I email you? Let me look through this, because I don't.
Yeah. Whatever.
I'll tell you what I think you definitely should get through, because some of this you just don't need. Okay, definitely. So definitely Module 1. I would definitely read 2.1. Read. Okay, 2.1 for sure. This is different than when they redid this. You don't need the rest of 2. I would just do 2.1 and then you're fine. I would go back and definitely review it later, but for now, just do 2.1. All of Module 1 and then do 2.1. There is an option to register for a live training at the end of Module 2. I think for me, if I watched the modules, they weren't that helpful. Like they just kind of reviewed and said, do you have any questions? For Module 3, I would do Module 3.
Okay.
And then Module 4 is really just about how to kind of set expectations during your live sessions and kind of tips on how to facilitate the live session. So it could be helpful if you want those strategies, but you're not going to be lost without them.
Okay.
And a lot of them have, so a lot of module like 4.6 teaches you how to do the breakout groups. So those will be helpful when you're doing, I would do those before you do your live session, like definitely do 4.6 and play around with how to do those, how to do the polls. I don't think you have to worry about the grade book quite yet. Like do that during week 2 of the class. You know, like figure out how to do the grade book. Module 6 and Module 7 can wait for sure.
So did you say the live session, was that helpful? Like with the facilitator or the trainer?
You know, I haven't done it. I think if you go through Module 4 and you read through how to do the breakouts, how to do the, like how to share visuals, how to do polls, you'll be fine.
Okay.
You don't need it. The one that I said, register for a training with the live support.
Yeah.
If you don't have time to do that, don't do it.
Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this with this person. And
No, you're fine. I would do the training modules though. Now that I'm looking at it, do all of Module 4.
okay. And before we go, can I try to fix my volume while I have you in here? I don't know why this laptop's like acting like this. It's so weird.
Yeah, totally.
Like I fixed my audio and it's at the highest volume, but you can't hear me well.
I can hear you, but it sounds like you're underwater.
I wonder if my mic is like dirty or damaged. Oh, okay. We'll have to have IT look at it. This is a pretty new laptop. I can kind of hear echoes. And oh, okay.
That's interesting. I don't know why, because it just sounds muffled.
Uh-huh. Okay. I'll have to work on it. So when you say Zoom and 2DU, the LMS,
Mm-hmm.
those are two separate systems.
Okay, ask that question one more time.
Okay. So the LMS,
Mm-hmm.
Zoom,
Yeah.
those are two separate systems.
That's actually a good question. Yes and no, but so all you have to really know about is the LMS.
Okay.
Because once you get into the LMS, when you get into your course, you'll see, hold on, I'm pulling it up to make sure I tell you exactly correct. Give me a second. Okay, so once you get access to your course, on the very home page, you'll see a little button that says Enter My Room.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be your Zoom room.
Okay, so then they kind of like become one.
Yeah, but let me, yeah, let me, that's how it should be, but let me, if that's not the case, can I get back to you on that? I need to ask technology because this is leading to an Adobe room, which is our old room, and that's not right.
Okay, that's fine. And I'm sure once it opens tomorrow, when I get in, I'll be able to figure out more of my questions.
Okay. The modules really will help you figure out that. Let me see. I'll look this up and I'll email you about that.
Okay. Is there anything else that's a must-do that I should focus on?
I think your only must-do is getting through the online modules. Once you get access to the course, go into your session and kind of play around with it and go through the content for week 1. I think you should look at the learning journals so you can kind of be prepared to explain those, and look at the individualized field education plan to make sure that you kind of understand it and you're ready to explain that.
Okay.
I think those would be your only kind of like musts to do.
Okay.
Not only, because it's a lot, but.
But the more you explain it, the more I'm feeling better about it. It looks like it's pretty well laid out.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think it would be a good idea to for us to connect maybe in January, just so you can ask any questions. Would you want to do that?
Yeah, that'd be great if you're available.
Okay, so I lied. Basically, to enter your room, there's going to be, you'll see, this is explained in module 3.4 of the online training.
Mhm.
It tells you how to get into your meeting room.
Okay.
It'll show you exactly where the button is.
Okay. What's your impression of the profile of some of these students?
It's such a mixed bag, I have to be honest. It's a lot of students are working. I will say that's the common theme. Most of them are working and really, really busy. You get a mix of the students who are super excited to be able to do this, really, really appreciative of everything, and you get some students who just kind of stare at you blankly the whole time. Demographic-wise, it tends to run older. You still are going to have your set of traditional young students, but there tend to be a lot of older students in the classes as well.
Okay.
Diversity, it's hard to say. I didn't see a lot of diversity in my last class, so I'm not really sure. All the students are from all 50 different states, though, so it's a pretty wide mix of students.
Yeah, I have one student so far last night when I looked, and he's from Alaska.
Oh, really? Wait, how did you see who you had?
I went into the Pioneer web and
Oh,
and looked at my roster.
I can tell you how many students you have if you want to know.
Okay.
Let me log into the course scheduler. So here's something that you want to make sure you're looking at your 4250 roster, because that's going to be the correct roster. Your 4970 roster, they haven't fixed registrations yet, and they probably won't until like the first week, like the week before classes start. So let me look at 4250. Give me a second. So you are section 504. You have 8 students registered so far.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually not bad. I don't know. It probably might go up a little bit. Andy has 8 students and Laura has 15.
So are we all starting in January?
Yes. Laura's been the only one who's taught before here.
Oh, okay. So Andy and I are kind of both new to it then.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question, but I can't think of it.
And you should also, I don't know if they're going to do this, what they usually do is have a tech person in the Zoom room with you on your first session to help with any just technology questions.
Oh, yeah, I read that somewhere. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's actually kind of helpful because if you're like, crap, I can't figure out how to do these breakout rooms, you just tell them and they'll do it for you.
Awesome. I'll be like, hey, IT guy.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously.
And, oh, how savvy are these students technologically? Because, like, these are pretty advanced programs.
They take a bunch of training on how to use it, so they will be all set.
Oh, okay.
And they will have had 1/4 of classes before coming to you. So before they start with you, they will have had a full quarter this past fall of using the technology.
Okay, great. That's good to know. So I know I better hurry up and get this under my belt.
And I promise you, Lee, once you get through it, you'll be like, oh, well, that wasn't that hard. Like, once you get through the training modules, you'll be like, okay, it's pretty intuitive. But I know that feeling because I was doing mine a week before my class started, and I was like, ah.
Okay, well, this is great. I won't keep you, but thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. It's great talking to you, and I'll send some emails with helpful hints.
Wonderful. All right, take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.